Alright everyone, it is me again. For those who are just tuning into the stream, welcome. I am Mars02. I just did a Super Mario Land normal plus hard mode speedrun, and now I'm going to be doing All Night Nippon, all stages. So without further ado, we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Timing starts there. So you all might be familiar with the original Super Mario Bros. And this one looks a little bit different. So this is also a very, not well-known category. It actually only has 2 people, including myself. So this run, or this game I should say, was made to promote a some sort of Japanese, I want to say a radio station in Japan, or a TV station in Japan called All Night Nippon. Something along those lines. And Nintendo kind of made some changes to the original Super Mario Bros. And released All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. And this is only for the Famicom Disk System, is what the Lost Levels was originally released on. So we will be doing, like I said, we're going to be doing all stages, and you might think, most people think that's just going up to 8-4 warpless, but actually, after 8-4 there are the letter worlds, which many people don't know about. Not a lot of people have played them, so I'm really happy to be showcasing these bonus levels to you guys tonight. Some stats about myself with this category. I do have the world record in this. I have a time of 33:04 RTA timing. There are a bunch of loads that I'm not really going to be taking out in this run just because it's a marathon run, but with load remove time, that would be a 32:32. So I grabbed fire not just because it's a lot safer and easier to navigate through some levels, but also when you fire kill Bowser, which usually takes 5 fireballs, like you saw there, when you grab the axe, there is no animation of Bowser falling into the lava, which is normally present if you don't fire kill Bowser and grab the axe. It saves about 2 seconds in every castle stage. So as you see, these are not Mario-looking enemies besides the Koopa Troopas, like the Goombas and the Piranha Plants. Don't look like they're from a Mario game. These are some of the hosts from All Night Nippon that were incorporated into the actual All Night Nippon game. So one little thing about the water levels that you're going to see me do, and you'll see a lot of people do in the original Super Mario Bros., is what's called duck swimming. So if I land on a surface, and you'll see it up here actually, and I hold down and then swim while I'm holding down, like that, my hitbox will actually be cut in half, but I was a little too high there for that cheap. So I actually got hit. Yeah, normally I would have actually been fine, but I was a little too high on that cheap, so that's why I got hit. But fortunately, the recovery in World 2 is very fast. It's only a handful of seconds, so... Yeah, I was thinking it was a radio program or some sort of station, but I was on the right track. So we're gonna have to get power-ups again. So, one interesting thing about this game is that it's a mishmash of SMB1 and Lost Levels. So you're going to see some levels that look like SMB1 levels, like this level, which is technically 7-3 from SMB1. There's more fish and Koopas. But especially when we get to the later part of the game, and especially in the bonus letter worlds, we're going to see a lot more levels that were created for Lost Levels. sometimes those fire bars can be really nasty. So when Bowser jumps forward like that, it's really convenient because we can just run under him like I just did. Especially when you're small and you're going for like an 80% run where you want to save every frame. Satellite Zelda games? Are you talking about the, I think I know what you're talking about. The Satellaview or whatever it was called? Like the Super Nintendo add-on? I wouldn't say it's exactly similar to those Zelda games. I really haven't seen footage of the Satellaview Zelda games, but I do know that they made a Satellaview Super Mario All-Stars version. So I wouldn't say it's really like the Zelda games on Satellaview, personally. I'm gonna shoot these enemies to the beat of the music so I can despawn a third Goomba that would normally be at the end of the staircase there. Yeah, it's a really cool connection how this game is sort of connected to Doki Doki Panic and the US Super Mario 2. I think that's a really cool connection. The 3-4 is 3-4 for SMB1. It's a little bit different though, like that fire bar above the question mark blocks normally isn't there. That was in a favorable fire bar position. Nice forward Bowser. See, like there, that was convenient for me. Fortunately, this is another scenario where getting fire back is going to be fast. Don't want to get hit. Yeah, since I've speedrun like both Mario 1 and Lost Levels, as well as this game, and versus Super Mario Bros., it's hard to remember where the power-up is. I'm gonna try to go for this first Fire Flower, but there's a Koopa that might be in the way. So it will be a little tight to get this Fire Flower, but hopefully we'll get through. Easy. Using that vine to despawn a Piranha Plant that is normally on that third pipe that I landed on. Yeah, a lot of these levels will still be daylight. World 5 is all daylight, World 7 is all daylight, and 8 is also daylight. There really is more daytime levels than nighttime levels in this game. You figure they would have just made every level nighttime to go with the title of the game. Nice little sound glitch. So 4-4 is the same level layout for the most part except for the end, but the maze route is different. So normally in SMB1 you'd go up top, but here I'm going down bottom. Here we're going to get this invisible coin block and go to the top. Three, 4 Bowsers. So World 5 is actually a pretty tough world. Mainly because enemies don't behave the same way in this game as they do in SMB1. Like Hammer Bros, for example. They behave a little bit differently, so like the first Hammer Bro in 5-2, this next level, is going to be a little bit interesting. But I'm going to play a little safe strat, so that way I'll try to not get hit. And that bullet will always shoot, so it's kind of rare that it doesn't shoot. A little surprising. (5-3), this is where we're going to start seeing some of the SMB2J, or Lost Level stages. 5-3, and this game is 4-3 and 2J, but with smaller platforms. I'm going to play a little bit of a slow strat in the middle of this level to avoid getting hit by bullet bills. Oh, that wasn't convenient. That was convenient, though. I want to get to the top of the screen, but because of where that bullet bill was when I was on those platforms, I wasn't able to stay up top, and then I could have made that big jump without the bullet bill, but it's a 3-frame window, very tight. So this is 2-4 from Lost Levels. Yeah, that was actually what we used to call them. We used to call them Barack Obama because they looked so much like him. Alright, so 6-1 is going to be entirely SMB1 levels except for 6-4, where that will be 4-4 in 2J. And you might also notice that I've been grabbing the flagpole when the timer ends with a 6, but haven't been getting fireworks. That's because fireworks do not behave the same way in SMB1. They actually, in this game, they behave the same way as Lost Levels, where the final digit of your coin count has to match the final digit of the timer. And if that number in question is odd, you will get 3 fireworks, and if the number is even, you will get 6 fireworks. Sometimes you'll see me, or see runners slow down in certain levels to avoid getting fireworks, like an 8-3 for SMB1. But as long as my coin count doesn't end in a 3, we won't have to slow down there. I'm not sure if they did it to avoid repeating level layouts, or if they just wanted to add a little bit of a challenge. Make the game a little unique. I'm not too sure, honestly. So this level is pretty much identical to Lost Levels 4-4. Nice clip there. Saves a little bit of time. Nothing major though. A little bit of a jumper. World 7, much like World 5, is another really tough world, mainly because of 7-2 and 7-3, which are both from Lost Levels. bouncing off of enemies is the same for 2J, not for SMB1. Because in 2J you bounce off enemies higher than SMB1, and that applies to this game as well. So 7-2 is 6-2 in 2J. And 7-3 will be 6-3 from 2J. So 2 fairly hard levels coming up. So another thing about the duck swimming that I didn't mention from earlier was that you can't shoot fireballs. It's kind of a long explanation, but yeah, that's the gist of it. You just can't shoot fireballs. But you do see my head's going through the corals. Like that. I believe this was released after Lost Levels. I think this was released around half a year after Lost Levels came out, if I'm not mistaken. I'll wait that one out. That was a little bit of an interesting fish. That was a really good 7-3. Those two levels went really good, actually. I'm happy how 7-2 and 7-3 went. 7-4 are the same level layout as SMB1, but a different maze pattern, much like 4-4. We're gonna go up top here. Gonna go up top here, and up top here as well. And I'm gonna go up top for this part. Then we're gonna go to the middle, and then to the bottom. Much different than SMB1. Alright, so we're gonna have World 8, then we're gonna have a little end credits intermission, and then we're gonna go to the letter worlds. And one important thing to note about the letter worlds is that it behaves the same way as 2J, where you have to beat the game 8 times to unlock the letter worlds. World 8 is pretty straightforward. Every level is SMB1, except for 8-4, which will be 2J's 8-4. And 8-4 in this game is a little bit trickier than 2J 8-4. E-2 is a pretty tricky level for the most part. There are a couple tight areas in the level that it's very easy to die on. Mostly at the end. Alright, that was pretty good. A little bit of a bonk, but no big deal. I'd like to keep my fire flower through 8-3, because the mushrooms are in different spots, and I don't really know where they are off the top of my head. So that would have made for a very interesting 8-3 if I got hit. Got a little bit of a jumper hammer bro there. A-4 is a pretty tricky level. All the piranha plants are green in this one, so you do have to be a little more precise with your inputs and a little bit slower. gonna wait this one out. You can get in the pipe before that piranha plant comes up again, but it's a little bit difficult. I'd rather lose a couple seconds and play it safe. One more tough jump for this level. Nice Koopa snipe. We're gonna run off the floor here and walk into that floor. That way we don't have to worry about that Bowser, which is called Bruce. And we're gonna fire kill this Bowser. And a 2048 for 8-4. We'll still have 4 more worlds to play. That was a pretty solid 8-4 part of the run. Under 21 minutes is really good. So normally, you know, if you beat Lost Levels, you get to the end credits, and then it lets you play the Fantasy World, or World 9, on 1 life. But All Night Nippon doesn't have a World 9. You just go straight back to the title screen and play Letter Worlds. So that's why, like, normally a 2J All Stages run would be like 36 minutes long, because it has that extra world, while this speedrun would normally be around 33 minutes long. And one of the little bit challenges about the Letter Worlds 2 coming up is that the enemies are going to be moving faster. So that'll be a little bit of a challenge, but we should pull through pretty easy, hopefully. Gonna hold A, and then if I hold A and start at the same time, we'll get to this little loading screen, and then it should come up as A-1. I want to say this is the first time that these levels have been done in a marathon. Did a little bit of a mid-air double jump there. You can do that if you hold A while Mario is transforming into Big Mario. Didn't think he was there. That's alright. That's why I get that mushroom. I can re-grab an A-3 and A-4, which isn't ideal, but... yeah, getting that mushroom in A-1 I like to do just because of if the Hammer Bros do what they basically did. So, another cool thing about these Letter Worlds is that we're going to be seeing a lot more 2J levels now. But, the problem is that there's no wind, so levels like A-3 and B-1 would normally have wind in Lost Levels. Actually don't. So it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Another thing too I should know is that B-1 will be 5-1 in 2J, which has wind. But, yeah, hopefully the cheats will be nice in A-3 while I try to get a mushroom. Yeah, but normally the wind will help me get past these fish, but since there's no wind, it's not as easy. That's why I'm just going to wait on all of these. Want to keep my mushroom if I can. Gonna get a Fire Flower in A-4 and hopefully keep it. That was a little sketchy, but it's fine. Also nice how the Bowsers in the Letter Worlds will not shoot hammers. Makes these fights a lot easier. It's interesting how, like, worlds 6 through 8, which do shoot hammers and are technically supposed to be easier. They shoot hammers, but the harder worlds at the end of the game don't shoot hammers. It's weird. So this is 5-1 from 2J. But no wind through here. That is a very tight jump. And normally at the end of this level you need to get some invisible blocks to get to the top of the wall at the end here, but I'm going to try to use a Koopa Troopa instead. Oh, I was just barely too early on my jump. I could have made it up that wall, which would have been really cool to show off, but it's fine. I don't think that many people really paid too much attention to this versus 1 and 2J. I think only releasing it for the disc system, which was a short-lived system, didn't help its attention much. So yeah, B2 from Lost Levels, pretty much the same level as far as enemies go for the most part. Gonna shoot you. Gonna get back my fireballs here from duck swimming, so I can shoot this Koopa at the end. That was close. B-3 is gonna be 3-3 from Lost Levels, but we will have shorter platforms. I actually really like this level. I think it's really cool. Got a little thrown off there by one of the Koopas, wanting to play it a little slow. I want to get fireworks. B-4, there is a very famous clip that we try to do in speedruns. This is like one of the most important clips in the whole run, just because it saves the most time. And makes the level a little bit easier. And we got it. Not ideal box. C-1 is usually a pretty straightforward level, but we're going to make it a little interesting. I'm going to take a little shortcut. So that is called the Devil Spell. You clip into that pipe with some very complex inputs, and you will warp straight to the end of the level. It's very interesting. This level is really hard. One of the hardest levels in the bonus worlds. C-3 will be 7-3 from 2J, but with no wind. Add a little bit of a twist to this already challenging level. Oof. Did not want to land there, but that's fine. Hopefully I will land on the platform that I want to land on. Alright, cool. Yeah, those enemies were somewhat favorable. Sometimes those enemies can be brutal and you have to like slow down and wait for them. This is 7-4 from Lost Levels. But with no hammer, so it's almost easier. Ooh, I almost got hit there. I was almost a little too slow. That was close. Bowser with the spring shoes. Alright, one more world and we will be done. This is one of my favorite levels in the Letter Worlds. It's very interesting. 8-1 from 2J with no wind. Oop. Almost lost my fire there by those bullet bills. I'm amazed I kept my fire through that. I almost got hit like 2 or 3 times. D-2 is one of the easiest levels in the whole game, honestly. And make sure we get on the spring. Nice. Nice and easy. Alright, D-3 is a very tough level. Even if I get through it easy, it's still a tough level. This level has been infamous for killing world record runs in the original Lost Levels. Right, hopefully these enemies will cooperate. Had to slow down for fireworks there. I was almost too fast. Alright. Favorable enemies in D3. Normally I would damage boost through this big fire bar here at the beginning, but I'm going to try to keep my fire for as long as I can. Some of the jumps in this level can be very difficult as Small Mario. Damage boost with this hammer bro. That was almost really bad. Have to play it safe here on Bowser. And that's that. That is All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. 100%. That was a pretty good run. I'm happy I got under 34 minutes. And I think that was deathless too. 0 deaths. Very good run. Thank you so much everyone for the GGs and the support during the run. I had a lot of fun doing these 2 runs. I think this was the first time that the Letter Worlds in this game were featured in a marathon run, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm glad I could show it off for you guys here. Yeah, just one last thing before I head out. I do speedrun a lot of Mario sometimes. Head on over to twitch.tv/Mars02 _. And I do like Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2 US, Super Mario Bros. 3, I've done Super Mario World, both the Mario Land games. Do a lot of Mario, so if you like Mario, head on over to there and say hi. And thank you everyone for tuning in for my runs. Thank you for RGL for approving my runs and letting me showcase these 2 games. I will have 2 more races coming up on Monday the 10th. I will have a Lost Levels Warpless D-4 race with Cosmic and the Rudy. And I will have a NES Trilogy race, which will be Mario 1, Mario 2 US, and Mario 3 back-to-back with Stewie Cartman. So, hopefully some of you guys will be able to tune into that on Monday. Thank you everyone for watching my runs, and enjoy the rest of the event. Have a good night, everyone.